were drinking bottles of vodka.
We have to do it again.
Kind of, but not exactly. We needed trained professionals. The world is evolving.
Capitalism versus socialism.
It's getting more and more meaningless. Every problem that Greece had, the Greek economy had, happened because of the Eurozone. At the end of the day, there's no evidence. Bulgaria has an advantage over Romania.
Everybody thinks they understand economics, but nobody actually does. I watched an interview with Jeffrey Epstein.
That's a big claim. When the moment I do it, it means that automatically you do it as well. The only thing that we wouldn't regret, both of us, maximize the amount of pizza we have. It's in the nature of the human brain that it's doomed. And I think that the key to happiness get the most money.
Hello, Professor Fatouros.
Hi.
Nice to see you again. There's a little story to this interview, right? It was done a few months ago, but for some unforeseen reasons, unforeseen circumstances, we have to do it again.
Technical difficulties, let's
yes,
say, yeah.
And I'm super happy for it, actually. I want to chat with you, I want to yap. First question, can you please introduce yourself to the students, to the people watching?
So I'm Professor Nikos Fatouros. I'm teaching in the economics department for the last 2 years now. My research mainly is about natural disasters, climate change, environmental economics, let's say. And in AUBG, I'm teaching principles in micro, I'm teaching intermediate micro, and environmental economics, environmental and energy economics, as well as game theory.
Why? So you're originally from Greece, is that correct?
Yeah.
So what made you move to here, to Bulgaria?
Okay, let's see. This is a really long story.
Yeah.
Essentially, I was born and raised in Greece. I did my undergrad there and my master's. Then I worked for like 2 years, I think, back then. But something was holding me back. Like I really wanted to continue for my PhD. I made some applications and I ended up in Canada to do my PhD from 2017, let's say, to 2021. I really wanted to go abroad, to live abroad outside of Greece, but ever since I did that, I was always trying a way
to go back,
to find a way to go back, right? So after that, I joined the University of Birmingham. I was teaching there, also in the Dubai campus of the University of Birmingham, and then the opportunity of AUBG came, which is another story that I think it's more of a parenthesis, a big parenthesis. And yeah, I was like, I started like getting into the idea. I didn't know where is Blagoevgrad. I knew about Bulgaria. Okay, fine. I've been here close to the region actually because I've been to Bansko when I was a student. That's a really big thing for.
That's the place where you're a student to go to, right?
Yeah. Especially like I went there 2011, I think. So then it was also like extremely cheap, and I remember like we were drinking bottles of vodka with 2 leva, something like that. But yeah. So even if I knew the region, I was aware of like the situation. Bulgaria was about to enter the Schengen zone at the time. Now it's also in the Eurozone.
Yeah.
But it just seemed like a good opportunity for me to explore. We had some online interviews first when I applied. Then my now colleagues, they invited me on campus. I came here, I fell in love with the place.
Nice.
And here I am.
From 1 to 10, how would you rate your experience in AUBG so far?
I know that it sounds cheesy, but I would say 10.
Wow.
And I can back it up in a way that, I don't know, for a person like me where I'm from the region, generally, broadly speaking. I'm from Greece, like really close. So I have, like, say, if you may, this kind of mentality, but not exactly, because I've also, like, lived and worked for many years abroad. So I don't know, for me, AUBG is the perfect combination of those two things. Like, essentially, I'm a person who has the background from the region. At the same time, I have some experiences from abroad. And I think AUBG is trying to do exactly that, like trying to apply essentially the American liberal arts teaching style in the region.
Many people are not really fond of liberal arts for like obvious reasons. What's your approach to liberal arts education? Is it really slacking behind the usual traditional one?
Can I ask for a follow-up question?
Of course.
What do you mean for obvious reasons?
For obvious reasons, well, some people may argue, and we hear this, maybe you hear this around the campus as well, that maybe if we could pinpoint a specific specialization that we want to make, a major, and not wasting two years. So by making a more pinpointed focus to a specific area of endeavor, we could be a better professionals in the real world.
Okay, I see. So essentially, and again, that's just my opinion. Even in classes, I don't try to impose my opinion. I think that everyone can form their own. Generally speaking, I think that 20 years ago, 30 years ago, what you're saying could be making sense in a way that we needed trained professionals for something specific, right? But the world is evolving, right? And it's evolving, I don't know, like 30 years ago, 40 years ago, maybe what you would see as a jump after 10 years, this is happening now in a week, right? So I don't see that much value to being trained in something only extremely specific.
Yeah.
I think it's more important to essentially be an educated person, not a trained person, but an educated person in a way that for example, I'm gonna speak for my field. There's no way that you're gonna be a great economist if you're not also good at math and you're not also good in political science and you cannot speak and you cannot empathize even.
So many areas of expertise going along, yeah.
So you can be something by being trained, but in order to excel at anything, I think that you need to have like a holistic approach. So yeah, especially with AI, we see that, many things like tasks, essentially being good at a specific task, it's getting more and more meaningless as we go, right? The only thing that stays with us is critical thinking is the way to combine something that, at least for now, the machines cannot do, right? So I really think that this is that someone, and if, for example, I had a kid now, I would definitely prefer the liberal arts system because it could actually prepare the student for, like, to be a successful citizen in the world of the tomorrow, not just today.
That's a very good answer. A few minutes ago, you mentioned the fact that Bulgaria was about to enter the Eurozone. It is in the Eurozone now. We have Euro, level is forgotten, maybe not completely, right, but still in our minds, it's a bit fresh. Can you briefly explain what's your position on Euro in Bulgaria? Is it a good thing or a bad thing?
Okay, let's see. I have had a similar experience when Greece entered the Eurozone. I was a kid back then, so
and maybe not the best experience, right, as far as I know?
I'm gonna tell you. So essentially, people think that every problem that Greece had, the Greek economy had, after the introduction of the Eurozone, let's say, happened because of the Eurozone. In fact, most of the problems came from the financial crisis, right? And the debt exposure that Greece had, the fact that Greece had a really massive public sector, where you would be having up to 80% of the working force being employed in the public sector.
Oh, wow.
Capitalist society.
Oh, wow.
But in any case, there is a difference between causality and correlation, right?
Yes.
So we can see, some observer can see that, okay, in Greece, we entered the Eurozone, and then some years after, big problems started.
This simplistic understanding.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's literally like me saying, I don't know, like you find some person who's extremely drunk, and you just pat them in the back, and then they fall, and then they die. Did you really kill them? In a way that I don't think that it's a big discussion, but my personal opinion is that Greece's problems were different. It wasn't because of the introduction of the Eurozone accession. And another thing is that we have seen many cases of countries entering the Eurozone. I think that skeptics usually also use the case of Croatia.
Croatia, yes.
Where we saw inflation. But again, it's the same thing, right? Because at the point that Croatia entered the Eurozone, every country in the Eurozone and in Europe in general, they experienced inflation. So how can we attribute that?
I think in the world in general.
To the currency, exactly. So there are other cases, though, that didn't experience inflation, like Slovakia, like Lithuania. So at the end of the day, there's no evidence, at least, because whenever we want to make a claim, the burden of the proof is actually to the one who's making the claim.
That's true.
Right? So for us to make a claim that the Eurozone is something bad, this is a really...
Make a case for it, right? Prove that.
Yeah, and I don't think that there's evidence to support that. Generally speaking, there could be some negatives. Let's say one would be inflation in small purchases, right? I remember, for example, in Greece, chewing gum was 10 drachmas, which was 3 cents of the euro. The next day it became 10 cents, right? So this is actually, the price tripled.
Yes.
At the same time, people are using some examples that really don't make sense. For example, I saw this on the news in Sofia. There was, when you pay for parking, it used to be paid 5 leva, and then it became 5 euro.
Yeah.
People weren't like extremely angry about it. But the people explained that essentially there hasn't been an increase since 2008.
Yeah.
So it was bound to happen. They were waiting for the Eurozone accession. Still, 5 euros for parking is fine.
Yeah. You have a rather optimistic view and, let's say, hope for the euro in Bulgaria specifically, right?
I'm gonna tell you what is the main thing that is actually driving me to have this approach. Generally speaking, let's say Bulgaria's competition in terms of attracting foreign investment mainly is Romania, let's say, right? Because until a month ago, they were both in the European Union.
Yeah.
They were both having an extremely low tax rate of 10% in income. And they could offer, say, an American multinational company that wanted to open headquarters in the European Union, they would go to either one of the two because they would also have cheap labor, etc., right? Now, Bulgaria has an advantage over Romania because they, in addition to everything else, they have the euro, right? So someone could think that, especially for businesses, this is extremely important, right? Because you can actually produce and pay your workers in euro and then export in euros. It's a different process and the costs are going down. It's a gamble, though, for Bulgaria, I think, because the adoption of the euro is not enough. Reforms have to happen.
Yeah.
You know, especially the bureaucracy is a really big problem. We have, I don't know, I'm living in Bulgaria for 2 years and I noticed that bureaucracy is a big issue.
Yeah.
But generally I'm optimistic because right now, at least if we do a cost and benefit analysis, let's say, extremely quickly, I would say that the benefits are better, are bigger.
Okay. Economics. Big thing. As one person said, maybe you're right, maybe you agree with it, maybe you're not. Everybody thinks they understand economics, but nobody actually does. I am sorry to say that I watched an interview with Jeffrey Epstein a few days ago, the one that was released a few days ago. And he said that all the people on the Wall Street, they say that, yeah, it's so complicated. They make it sound so complicated, the assets and the terms. And so the normal folk don't understand it. But actually nobody does. Like people may have like a feeling, like innate understanding where the market goes, for example, but not like they cannot explain why. How do you think?
Let me see. So first, I think that this could be more about finance than economics, let's say.
Sure.
So,
and there's a distinction, right?
Distinct fields, yeah. But in any case, in terms of economics, economics is a really peculiar case of a science because it's not really a science in the traditional manner. It's a social science. We use mathematical models that are based on assumptions, and as a result, we can never explain reality fully. Psychologists have been trying to explain one brain for years, and they haven't been able to. And we claim that we can explain not only 8 billions of brains, but also their interactions.
Yeah.
That's a big claim, right? So, but still, it's the best we have. So what we can do is build some theoretical models, mathematical theoretical models, based on some reasonable assumptions, let's say, just to try to understand how the world works.
Okay.
And then we have statistics, we have econometrics, where we can actually test our models, how they're working. So generally speaking, I think economics as a field, especially after the introduction of game theory, when we got rid of this, let's say, our brains were really stuck to like saying, I don't know, the invisible hand of the market is going to work. And all of those things.
You don't believe that?
No economist believes that.
No economist believes that?
No economist who's an economist. Because, like say, okay, let me give you an example.
Okay.
We say that the invisible market of the invisible hand of the market would actually should be correcting things. There are specific cases that this doesn't happen, right? For example, let's say in the case of public goods, when we have public goods, not public goods in the traditional sense, how we say it in everyday life, like say something provisioned by the public sector, but public good is something that I cannot exclude you from consuming it, and our consumption is not rival. I'm going to give you an example. National defense. National defense is a public good because I cannot exclude you from it. If we have it, we have it.
Yeah.
The only way I could exclude you is that if a foreign army invaded and I was like, only him, no one else.
Yes,
right?
yes.
And it's not rival. Rival's consumption is the consumption of this coffee, right? Because if I drink it, that means that you cannot drink it.
Yeah.
But the moment we consume services of national defense, when the moment I do it, it means that automatically you do it as well, right? So in this case, the invisible hand of the market fails. How could that happen? We are now in BAC. Right across us, there's a river. So we could know that we are stuck in this room and the river might be overflowing soon. And I'm like, okay, Saveli, it's just two of us. We need to build a dam to protect us, right?
Yeah.
And let's say that this dam costs €1,000. How would you want to finance that?
Finance?
How should we pay for it? We have to build a dam to protect.
How to split between those? Well, it would be fair to say 50-50.
50-50, right? But then I can say, you know what, I'm from Greece, I know how to swim. I'm not that keen on spending money on that. I don't need it. What would you say to that?
Well, first of all, it's your personal decision. And it's not moral for me to interfere with that.
Okay.
You have the right to do that. It would be bad for me, though. And I probably will have somewhere another $500.
What if you have €800 and I have €800?
Yeah.
And we need to build a dam, and I'm like, nah, I don't want to.
Borrowing from you?
Maybe, yes.
And under an amazing interest rate?
Yeah.
Because the demand is...
That would be the case.
But
my point is this, like, can you see a way that this dam would never be made?
Yes, absolutely.
But what does the invisible hand of the market say? It says that when everyone is acting on their best interest, that's the best for society. The society, in this example, is the two of us. When we do what's best for us, and in this case, my interest is to hide my willingness to pay, to pretend that I don't really want that.
I see.
Right? We might end up in a situation where the final outcome for society is not the best.
And so game theory explains that the invisible hand doesn't work?
So this would be the analysis that we just did. It's about public goods, right?
Yeah.
Game theory is something a bit different. So it's a mathematical tool that essentially analyzes strategic interaction. So let's say, again, the invisible hand of the market would say that in a duopoly, when firms are announcing prices, let's say that we are the two firms and we have a cost of 2 to produce 1 unit of a good. And the invisible hand of the market would say that when we do what's best for us, that's the best for both of us, right? Okay, you have a cost of 2. For the same product, I have a cost of 2. Let's announce prices. In the count of 3.
1, 2, 3, 4.
2. Okay, so I set a price of 2. Do you regret your decision?
Yes.
Yeah. Do I regret my decision?
No, I don't think so.
I do, because I could have set a price of 3.999 and still be a monopoly, right? So, at the end of the day, the only thing that we wouldn't regret, both of us, and that's the concept of the Nash equilibrium, is if we set a price of 2 at our cost exactly. So look at what we have done. We are just two firms, and supposedly we should be making profits. But because the competition is so fierce between us, when we take into account the strategic interaction, we end up with 0 profits. So, the invisible hand of the market generally doesn't work in most cases. It only happens in cases where we have a perfectly competitive market, which has, again, many assumptions, etc. When we try to make the analysis more realistic, to account for goods that are not traditional, let's say private goods, to account for strategic interactions, then it fails. And that's why, like, for game theory, John Nash got the Nobel Prize in economics in '94, because it essentially revolutionized the way that economists are thinking about the world. And I think that ever since then, I don't think that any economist would think that the invisible hand of the market works.
All right. You mentioned several times how economics, politics, and many other fields are interconnected. I want to ask you a question that, for some unknown reason, is super trendy right now, especially after the elections in New York. What are your views of the common debate, capitalism versus socialism?
I believe that the debate is over for like 30 years.
The debate is over?
Yes.
Can you tell me the winner?
I'm gonna tell you. So capitalism would be the winner, but with an asterisk. So we have seen, because many times, like, and again, as I said with everything, I'm just saying my opinion, right? And with economics, we also said that because there's always a margin of error, prediction is extremely hard. I think that everyone's opinion could be valid depending on the arguments that they're using. For me, essentially, what I can observe, I was born in '91, so I haven't really experienced like this the Soviet collapse.
Yes.
Let's say, but every country that has applied communism has failed in one way or another. And the argument is that, okay, but this time it wasn't applied properly.
Yes.
But I'm going to tell you this. It's in the nature of the human brain that it's doomed not to be applied
communism
properly. Yeah. So at the same time, I'm not in favor of a system like, say, as capitalistic as
like laissez-faire.
Yeah, as the US in many occasions, where, say, for example, even for healthcare, you would actually have to pay one-to-one because there are many dangers there, right? Like when we get sick, when we have some issues, there are many factors playing out, and usually we would have to pay a lot of money. Someone could say, okay, you can be insured, but then there's another problem. What if you are poor not because you're not good at something or because you are lazy, but just because of lack? So at the end of the day, I would say that capitalism is the winner, definitely, compared to communism. But at the same time, especially in occasions where we're talking about, say, healthcare, education, there should be safety nets. There should be a way for us as societies to essentially distribute the bigger wealth that capitalism gives us. Because definitely, and the way I say it, to really see it like really quickly, imagine like capitalism is getting a larger pizza for you.
Yeah.
But the pieces are not as equal, right? Communism has a way smaller pizza, but the slices are relatively equal.
Yeah.
If you're not on the party.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Right? So the way I see it is that the best thing we can do is maximize the amount of pizza we have, but then also make sure that everyone is eating.
Yeah. You are involved in the energy economics as well, you said. Climate economics. What's your opinion on sustainability as a, not only as the definition goes, but as the trend we see nowadays in our society, especially the agenda that is pushed from the West especially?
I will tell you, like, generally speaking, again, there is a misconception even with sustainability, because people think that when we talk about sustainability, we would be talking just about, I don't know, like producing nothing and enjoying a nice environment.
Yeah.
I'm not in favor of that in general. In economics, when we are actually trying to analyze any decision, it's all about the cost and benefit, right? In other words, I should be allowed to have some emissions, let's say, some reduction in the quality of my environment, as long as it produces something that is useful for society, right? At the same time, I cannot overdo it. So it's always about finding the sweet spot.
Okay. Can money buy happiness?
It can help, let's say, right? I don't think that it can harm happiness, although in some occasions it can happen. Let's say we hear stories of extremely rich people being extremely unhappy, etc. At the same time, I think that...
Being extremely lonely specifically, so I think relationship and like intimate relationship with family is also has a big role.
Definitely, definitely a bigger role.
Yeah.
We're social beings, right? So at the end of
social
the day...
animal, as Socrates said.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's also
your guy, Socrates. Back there.
The other Greek guy.
Yes.
The Greek famous guy.
Yeah.
But like generally speaking, I don't know. It's more about the bigger question is, what do we mean by happiness, right?
Yeah.
Because humans
define happiness, right?
And we are greedy people. We are greedy beings as people, because I think that no matter how much money we have, no matter how much happiness we have, we are programmed to want more. And I think that the key to happiness wouldn't be to get the most money you can, to have the most friends you can, the more hookups you can if you're a student, let's say.
Okay, sure.
If you're younger.
Relatable, no.
But it would be to essentially learn yourself, and whenever you reach a stage where you have the things that you like in life and you can be content with what you're having, to take a breather.
Yeah.
And to essentially experience the happiness that you're having because of this. Because if we keep asking and asking and asking for more and more and more, it never
There's
ends.
no end to that.
Yeah.
So a bit of gratefulness and appreciation, let's say. Can money buy love?
Definitely not.
Not?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so. It can buy, let's say, short-term experiences. But, and I don't necessarily mean something extremely bad, but at the end of the day, if someone is with you because you have money and you can get them in some place, in some nice place, or to have a nice experience, it wouldn't be love at the end of the day, right? So at some point it would show, because the moment you would stop being able
feeding,
to...
let's say,
Yeah. So I don't think that, generally speaking, love can be bought, right?
Okay.
At the same time, we cannot devalue money, right? Because money enables us first to survive, to be able to, eat, to keep ourselves
Pay the bills.
warm, keep ourselves safe. If we actually reach a stage where we make a bit more money, then we can actually buy experiences in a way. But that doesn't do anything by itself, right? For example, if I have an amazing group of friends, we can go to an amazing place like in the Amazon forest, or I don't know, like in Patagonia or wherever, and we can have a lot of fun. But if I'm alone, I have no one else, and I have the money to go there, I can go there and do what? I'm gonna do exactly what I would be doing home.
All right, let's take a common AUBGer, a student from AUBG, let's say second year. What advice on financial literacy would you give him? I know you focus more in economics, but the fields are somewhat connected, I think. What would your financial literacy advice to that person would be?
I would say, so first...
Become a professor?
When it comes to financial literacy, I guess you're referring to like how people would manage their money, how would they make investments,
spend, investment.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you a controversial opinion on
Go
that.
ahead.
Generally speaking, the lifespan of anyone, of any person, it would be wise to do what? To invest when you have money to invest, and at the time that you have time, as a stock and not money, you should be investing that, right? There are different types of investments. So if you're asking my advice for sophomores, is essentially to do what? To invest their time wisely. Because generally speaking, in most cases, this wouldn't be the time of your life that you have the most money, right? So even if you save 10% of your money, 20%, fine, it can be compounding, I agree. But the most important thing, at least because we try to be as happy as we can, but throughout the whole span of our lives, you should do what? You should invest your time wisely in a way that you should be focusing on your studies, because that's what's gonna pay the bills later,
pay off,
right?
Later.
And then you can actually be able to have a nice salary so that you can think about investing your money, etc., etc. But more importantly, you should invest your time wisely, because that's the time of your life that you're gonna have the most time to use. So there are certain experiences, like say you're studying for a midterm and then you study in the library and you meet two students that you didn't know, and then you hang out, and then you fall in love with the one.
You go to
and
the
then
billion.
You fight with your friend because you both want the same girl, or whatever, right? All of those things are experiences that are shaping you, and you cannot miss on them. Right?
So they're important as well.
Of course, everything.
So finding a balance.
It's always about that. It's always about the balance, right? Because if you overdo it with partying, let's say, then you're not gonna do that well in your studies, and as a result, maybe you're not gonna have a good career that's gonna buy you time later. Because the more money you could be having later, you could be able to buy more time to spend with your family, to do whatever you like. If you overdo it with only restricting yourself to the academics and not experiencing life at this age.
Especially university life, right?
And then you're going to be having a lot of regrets, right? Because after that, you're going to be starting a master's probably, then work, then maybe you're going to have a family. You're never going to have this amount of quality time that you're having now.
Get the most out of it.
And the thing that saddens me is that in many occasions, many young people don't think about it like that. They just treat their time as if it's rubbish.
Yeah.
It's extremely important.
I would like to ask you, are you happy right now?
Definitely, I would say that, yeah. But again, it's also about the thing that we discussed earlier, right? Like every person, like they can have some criteria to see if they're happy or not. At the same time, these criteria have to be flexible, right? So I would think that I'm happy now. I was also happy some years ago that maybe I wasn't doing well. Maybe I was a student like you and I was studying really hard because I went to a party and I was afraid that I'm gonna fail the course and I was trying a lot, but at the same time I didn't believe that I'm gonna do it. At the same time, even then, if I think about it, I was happy, right? Because I had everything else going on in my life. I would say that I'm generally healthy. I have really good relationships, family-wise, socially, really amazing friends, good colleagues even here. Some of them are also my friends. So I would say yes, I'm generally really happy.
That's amazing. That's good to hear. You mentioned that AUBG for you was personally 10 out of 10. But of course, you would agree that there are always things for improvement, areas for improvements. What would you like to change in AUBG in order to make it 11 out of 10?
I don't know.
Like you cannot be happy with everything, like 100%.
No, definitely. But like at the same time, we can, even if you're in a perfect situation, let's say, or as good as it gets, you will always be able to find something negative, right? So I try usually, as a person, I try not to focus on the negatives. Generally speaking, I would say, okay, if I had to pick one, I would say efficiency. Like things, whenever something has to be done, sometimes we're stuck in bureaucracy. So I would say that, like essentially when someone wants to do something that is obviously going to help, but that's not just the university's fault, right? We're bound by Bulgarian accreditations, NETSI accreditation. So you would have to have some specific processes in order to keep our degrees accredited, let's say, right? At the same time, this creates lots of bureaucracy, lots of inefficiency, and in an ideal world, I would want that to be a bit smoother.
Describe your ideal student in 1 or 2 or 3 sentences.
Honestly, you're asking me really hard questions. I cannot do that. I cannot do that, but I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay.
Believe it or not, even if a student does well, even if they don't, even if they're excelling, even if they start bad and they do amazingly, even if they start do good, even if they're respectful, even if they're disrespectful, even if no matter what, I don't separate. The thing that I say to my students all the time, like especially when we talk about the syllabus, and I usually have a policy of no makeups, no makeup exams, right? Or sometimes students approach you and they're like, oh, I didn't do well in this assignment. Can you give me some other assignment? Generally, what I say is this: I'm never gonna do something for a specific person, no matter even if I like them, even if they do good, whatever. I'm gonna be doing things, and I think in every class there are ways that we actually find some bonuses, some interactive classroom activities, etc. But this applies to everyone. So it doesn't mean I understand that some students are gonna be doing better than others academically. At the same time, I don't distinguish it. Like when I enter the classroom of 30 students, I don't say a good student and a bad student. I say, I don't know, Simona and Ilia and the people that came to class to learn something from me. And at the end, I actually learned something from them as well, no matter what. So I cannot really describe my favorite student. I don't have such thing.
Okay. That may be a wise thing as well, right? Not to differentiate and not to discriminate. just as a final question, what advice would you give to young people in general?
I think what we said earlier, and with an asterisk again, use your time wisely, and respect yourself, respect all your decisions. At the end of the day should be respectful to yourself. Don't do things that would put you in a bad situation, in a harmful situation, now or in the future. At the end of the day, as I said, academic performance is extremely important because it helps us not just get a salary in the future, but also develop as people, right?
Character,
At the same time, we have a life that we have to live and we have to experience everything. So relationships are extremely important. Family, social relationships, personal relationships, our connection with the community, our connection with the world in general. So all of these things matter. I would say, essentially, as we like to teach in AUBG, a holistic approach to life.
Yeah. Professor Fatouros, I want to thank you very much for this interview. I enjoyed it very much. Thank you for coming.
Me as well, but if I can ask for a favor.
Go ahead.
I have seen that in many podcasts, and I would like to start it with your podcast as well, if you would like that.
Yes, of course.
So can I nominate someone? Can I actually challenge someone to come to the podcast after me?
Go ahead.
Okay, so I would like to challenge Simeon Simeonov from History, the History Department. Please invite him and ask him a lot of things. He's an amazing guy. And I'm going to give you a hint as well. He's also speaking Greek. He also speaks Greek.
Okay.
He's Bulgarian. He studied in the US, but he also speaks Greek.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you again, sir.
Okay,